What a mental game we have seen in Palakele. Firstly, two major breaking news updates. Sri Lanka have eliminated Pakistan from the semi-final race because Sri Lanka have lost the game only by 5 runs. Not 65 runs, but by only 5 runs. So Pakistan are out of this competition in the semi-final race, and that means England, New Zealand come through from this group. South Africa are in the other group, and because of that, will India join them in the other semi-final that's going to take place? That we'll come to know tomorrow. Dasun Shanaka tried his best to pull off a miracle, but
I don't know where to start again, Surab. It's been a match of twists and turns. At one stage, it's Pakistan. Another stage, it's Sri Lanka. Back again, it's Pakistan. Then again, it's Sri Lanka. Then Pakistan. Eventually, looked like Sri Lanka. And then, for the one final time, if there was anything left in the game, Pakistan win this encounter. I don't know. I think, without doubt, by the way, without doubt, the best game in the tournament so far. A game which, at one stage, had become redundant for the last few overs because both teams couldn't qualify. So imagine a scenario where it had become redundant and yet it's given us a humdinger. You know, I thought when we were going to be doing the post-match, I would be talking about well played Pakistan, but kudos Sri Lanka. I would have done a consolation well played to Pakistan. Then it reached a stage where I was going to be like, should I even do well played Pakistan? This is amazingly played Sri Lanka. To eventually, where I don't know what to do, but I might just say, well played Pakistan. You showed good temperament, you showed good courage, you played good cricket. For all the lows that you had in this tournament, including the massive defeat to India, you can still go back from this tournament having not qualified for the semi-final, being proud of the fact that you gave it your all in this do-or-die game, really raised the bar, really raised the expectation, something that no one expected out of them. They did it. So credit where credit is due to Pakistan. They won this game, couldn't go through the line to get that unimaginable thing that they wanted, but good, sort of a performance from them eventually as the tournament gets over. To Sri Lanka now. Similar sort of sentiments. Very well played in a game where I think correct me if I'm wrong, for 35 overs you thought that they're done and dusted. For 35 of the 40 overs done and dusted, Dasun Shanaka plays an absolute blinder. I'm not even looking at Ratnaike because we expected this out of him and he still did consolidation job. Maybe he did a good enough job to ensure Pakistan don't reach the semi-final. But Dasun Shanaka from there almost taking them. I think at the end of the day, there is a part of me that says the kind of cricket that Pakistan played, they deserve to reach the semi-final. There's a part of me that says the kind of cricket that Sri Lanka played, they deserve to win this game. Both scenarios are absolutely true. But I guess, this is what, as a neutral cricket fan, as a lover of sport, I'm happy I witnessed this game. Because boy, did this World Cup need this after some one-sided encounter. But well done once again. We will get into breaking down, as you said, the reviews and so on and so forth, where the game was won, where the game was lost. But at the end of the day, I'm grateful that a game like this was played. So kudos to both Pakistan and Sri Lanka for rising the standard of cricket, for ensuring that you took the standard of this T20 World Cup a bit higher than it was.
419 runs in 40 overs today at Palakele. And this Dasun Shanaka, where was this Dasun Shanaka when we needed it against England and New Zealand? Because remember, this is not the first time that Dasun Shanaka has done this. He's done it in the past also. You would remember in 2022 when Australia had toured, there was this miracle match in which they needed 59 in the last 3 overs and Dasun Shanaka did it. That was when his stocks really rose. And today, amidst all the negativity that is there, in which Dasun Shanaka was not the most popular man heading into this particular encounter in Palakele, let me tell you, for the comments that he made after the New Zealand thrashing. He said that there is so much of negativity outside. in order to protect the mental health of the players, we are requesting government intervention. And that has kicked off an absolute storm in Sri Lanka. But this was 2 games too late. Had this Dasun Shanaka stepped up, better application, better depth of the bat, you could have very well won against England. You could have very well won against New Zealand. Another tournament of what ifs. And at the end of the day, you do have to feel sorry for Pakistan, because as I said, Pakistan played so unlike Pakistan today. 1 or 2 times there was an occasional misfield, but there was one occasion in which the fielder threw himself at the boundary, stopped the foe. They were bowling like a team possessed. I mean, Abrar Ahmed was in sublime form. But today, of all the games, Usman Tariq had to have a bad day. And because of that, if he had controlled the middle overs, look at it, Usman Tariq today went for 43. And yes, his 26-27 match streak, where he's taken at least 1 wicket, that came to an end. Finally, after so many one-sided encounters, we've had a thriller in the Super 8. After that South Africa-Afghanistan game, I will place this as the second most interesting and thrilling encounter that we have seen.
No, I'm going to place it ahead of that. For me, I take your opinion, Siddharth. For me, I'm putting it ahead because of the context.
Yeah.
Because of the context that was in this game, as I said, on both counts, as I don't think in that game, both Afghanistan and South Africa could have been happy. I think Afghanistan would have been ruining and ruining the fact and being upset with them that a winning match, tactical errors, they've lost it. I think this is a game where both teams will do the post-mortem and look at things that they could have done correctly. But this is a game where I think both teams can be happy with the kind of effort that they've put. Despite the fact that, see again, one team has won, they can be happy about it. But that team has also not qualified for the semi-final, they can be unhappy about it. The other team has lost, they can be unhappy about it. But they can be happy about it that any sort of finger pointing at them, that they choked in the game, or the dreaded F word or whatever else could have been used, that also can be out of the window, right? So it is such a contradiction. It is such a scenario where you can be happy and sad at the same time, and not one team but both teams. That's why I'm saying this is a game unlike any other game that you've seen in cricket. But I want to break it down, and let's break it down by 4 or 5 really big talking points. Let's start with the one that you started with, and that was reviewing the wide or whatever. I don't know where you stand on that, but you asked me personally. I think both of them weren't wide. I think he moved a bit. The final ball also, whatever little I saw of it, I think good bowling. I was a bit surprised Shanaka didn't have a swing at it. I would have liked for him to have attempted a shot there, even though it was wide outside the off stump. That was the only go-to delivery that Shaheen Shah Afridi could go for. So for me, I think, justice was done. Those were fine balls. I don't know how you saw that.
See, for me, if you have to look at review, it has been a horror day for Sri Lanka, firstly.
Yeah.
But I thought, see, the second last delivery in which Dasun Shanaka moved across and Afridi fired it wide, that definitely wasn't a wide. Can't be given a wide because the batter had shuffled across. So credit to that. That was a good ball. But in the final delivery, Shanaka barely moved. Barely. It might have been nanometers or millimeters. But the ball had landed outside of that blue line that is there. And correct me if I'm wrong, if it goes out of the blue line, if the batsman sticks to his ground, that is a wide, isn't it?
That's a wide, yes.
It clearly looked like a wide. And see, the ball had gone to the left of that, meaning it had gone not over the line, but wide of the line. Even Sanat Jaiswal, whoever was watching it, big screen, why didn't you review? It was that clear cut a wide. And who knows, maybe 5-1, we may have had to delay our post-match because we have gone to super over also. Who knows? Anything could have happened. But why I'm saying this has been a horror day for reviewing, because Sri Lanka also lost it about, you may say, 30 overs before. They didn't review a caught behind of Fakhar Zaman.
Yeah.
They didn't review a wide today, which is what I was wondering. Did they think that the 2 reviews that they would have had left gets counted in the points? I think that is what they were thinking at this stage, because they clearly, if you were desperate enough, I'm sure an India or a Australia or a New Zealand or an England would have gone on to review that. I mean, if you look at it, see, it is there is. I think Pawan, you've cut full screen to that. This is where the ball is. Clearly, you can see marginally it is away from that line. It is
Yeah.
away. So yep. But then the major talking point where Pakistan kind of lost the semi-final race. I think Nikhil, you and I can agree on this one particular thing: the kamikaze effort in that last 4 overs. That proved to be
Yeah.
costly for Pakistan. It was just enough for them to win. But imagine had they gotten 230, 240, the pressure would have been on Sri Lanka even furthermore. At 101 for 5, game over. I don't think they would have reached 180 also looking at the scoreboard pressure. I think for
Fair
me that
point.
was the key point.
No, fair point. I think we have to go back to those last 4 overs where they just gave up about 35 runs and took 7 wickets, if I'm not mistaken. So that phase, I think, really brought Sri Lanka back into the game. But now, again, we have the benefit of the hindsight. I wouldn't have said it there. We have the benefit of the hindsight. So that we've had a situation where Sri Lanka would have chased 212. So I'm guessing that if that 20 runs extra would have been scored, Pakistan was still not making the semi-final. I mean, hand to heart, I'm
Yeah.
just looking at Sri Lanka's effort. But yeah, it would have been enough to ensure Pakistan win comfortably. It would have avoided them those tense moments that they had at the end. That could have been avoided. But I mean, I agree. So that also takes me back to the point that with all the finger pointing at Sri Lanka in terms of no reviews, as you talk about, finger pointing at Sri Lanka, the poor fielding effort, which is something we don't, associate with Sri Lanka. With all of that put together, I'm glad. That's what I'm saying. I'm glad the game panned out this way, not because Pakistan are out or anything or isn't exciting, but primarily because this is a sport that we love. Had this game really turned out in a way where Sri Lanka did have that collapse and on a pitch which was, as we knew, was going to get better to bat on, there was a lot of do as was evident there. In that scenario, if Sri Lanka allowed Pakistan, a team that had not even been getting close to 180, to allow them to go over 200 by drop catches, not taking reviews, and then be dismissed for less than 147. I mean, honest to God, that would have been a game that would have raised a lot of questions without really doubting the intent of the players. But you and I both know that this is not a game that anyone would let pass so easily, and this would have come under scrutiny. So, in that sense, as a lover of the sport, as a believer in this sport, I'm happy that eventually the game finished the way it did. Again, as I repeat, not because of Pakistan being knocked out, but Sri Lanka showing that it wasn't a case of them underperforming, but this was more a case of them having a bad day, Pakistan having a good day, and then they're recovering all of that on the basis of a knock by Shanaka or some good bowling towards the. I think there are only two moments that, or maybe three moments that really stand out for Sri Lanka. Ratnayake giving them some sort of stability, Dasun Shanaka with that particular knock, and then those the last 3-4 overs that they bowled with the ball. I think these were just fleeting moments in the middle that made us keep faith in the sport that we all love. Otherwise, we would have lost the faith in it. So, in that sense, for the larger good of cricket, I'm glad the game panned out that way. But let's focus on Pakistan. What can Pakistan say? See, listen, I was one of those that had written Pakistan off, and you can't blame me because I based it on the performance that Pakistan had given so far. How could I suddenly expect them to perform 10 notches above their performance that I'd seen? If it was 1 or 2 notches, I would have still agreed that okay, that thing can happen, Kudrat ka nizam, and so on and so forth. You are expecting them to perform 10 notches above their performance, which is to get 200 plus and then dismiss the opposition so cheaply. That wasn't going to happen. And but having said that, they've lost. And in that sense, New Zealand, which is the better team compared to Pakistan, so I think the better team has gone through. But I will still compliment Pakistan and their players to have fought the way they did. And again, as I said, it's a sport, and you need to give the devil its due. From the batting, Saad Farhan, the way he batted, he's been good. And to send Fakhar Zaman there, and then this actually goes back to the fact that why would you not play him? You and I both knew. I was saying it from the start of the tournament that if you've got a Fakhar Zaman in your team, you have to play him. Despite him being inconsistent, it's like an Abhishek Sharma. Yaar. If India has it, you have to play him. Same with Vagar Zaman. He's hurt teams in the past. He's been inconsistent, but he can be a X factor. So I'm surprised. Firstly, you even played him. Why would you want to back him any lower than being an opener? His best performances have come when he has been an opener. So again, I think if Pakistan got those things slightly right, played Fakar from the start, got him to open, and their bowling did better. I think for the last two games, Shansha Afridi has shown that he can be that bowler that he is. I think Abrar is the bowler that they should have had faith with, just because he had one not even really bad, but not a great game versus India. They got him out. But I think, that is something that they should have considered. So I think Pakistan made those errors, but this game will give them hope that they have things that they can work around. And if they get their selection right and team strategies right, which is very obvious to the naked eye, which you and I can pick, they can compete. It will not be the kind of gap that we've seen between teams that they are. So that will give them a lot of hope. As for Sri Lanka, they played well today, but I think they've gotten out of jail. I think they need to pull up their socks. Some questions need to be asked. I didn't expect them to perform the way they did. In these kind of conditions, this total should have been chased down. Should have been chased down. It was a belter of a batting pitch, lots of dew. They should have chased it down without too much of drama, which happened in the end, and they've lost this game. So you need to look at it, and now they've had like three games which have been really bad from the kind of performance that you expect out of them. So there have been players in Sri Lanka also that have been there for some time. They need to step up. So overall, I think more questions for Sri Lanka. Pakistan on the other hand can hold their heads up high, but that's it. The tournament ends. That's the last game that happens in Colombo. And as I said, I'm happy that this result has happened just for the sanity to remain in this sport and not for loose talk to dominate the sport that we all love.
I mean, Pakistan's campaign, when you look at it in the Super 8s, lost by the barest of margins. I mean, they could have very well had England on the mat had they bowled smartly in the last overs. I mean, look at it. They almost had England in panic. England, where they need a 4 from Jofra Archer to win that particular encounter. Had they bowled well earlier, they could have ensured that they could have gone through. Who knows by this performance? Against New Zealand, very bad luck that the game got rained out. That was the one thing that was going to be there. It was either in or out for Pakistan. There was no in-between ground at this stage. Here too, the kamikaze style of batting that they did in the final 4 overs, and yes, in hindsight, with Dasun Shanaka doing so well, it was still not enough for them. But they lost the fine margins, and it all starts with the team selection. What wrong did a Fakhar Zaman do, and why did you want to persist with a Babar Azam, knowing fully well that he was not suited for this modern day play of T20 cricket? Pakistan were caught in a time warp when you have to look at Babar Azam, the batter. They thought we are still playing like 2018, 2019, 2017. No, it's changed totally. And on what grounds could you include a Babar Azam when he had a wonderful average of 20 and a strike rate of 103 heading into this T20 World Cup when he played for the Big Bash League? Even in the games against Australia on roads, he struggled. You persisted with him even in the league stages, and Pakistan were made to pay. The mental block that they had against India aside, fine margins contributed to these two results that Pakistan have gotten eliminated. They have only themselves to blame for this. If a Fakhar Zaman and a Saibzada Farhan had opened consistently, who knows how Pakistan would have changed their entire discourse in the T20 World Cup? Who knows? But again, like you pointed out, Nikhil, they just don't seem to have confidence in a Fakhar Zaman.
Only one other thing that I'll point out, and I watched it with a bit of raised eyebrows. You tell me what you think of it. I was a bit, and I'm not saying it in hindsight, now that the result has happened. Saibzada Farhan, and I've said it, that he's made a record for most runs in a T20 World Cup, broken Virat Kohli's record. He deserves that. That's another thing, his team's not made it to the semi-final. I have a feeling, and because, this is a debate that happens in India very often, I had a feeling when they finished, I thought that he kind of slowed down for his 100. He was going at a very phenomenal strike rate. They had a start that could have given them 250. But I felt that when he was closing in on the 3-figure mark, he slowed down. He finishes with a strike rate of 160, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
I don't have the scorecard with me, but I remember on top of my head. But at one point, he was operating much higher than that. And as you progress in your innings, you expect that strike rate to go even higher. And if you've got a start like that on a pitch like that, I expect nothing less than a 220 sort of a strike rate.
Yeah.
I think when we're looking at areas where Pakistan kind of goofed up, one is those last 4 overs. But I also think Saibzada Farhan slowing down for his 100 was a major reason why Pakistan did not get the 250 that they very well could have got. Again, I've not looked at the exact data. I'm just talking in terms of having watched the game. I had the thought at that time. Now that the game is done, I go back to the fear that I have at that moment. Maybe you've looked at the data and you can give
Yeah,
us the
which is
exact
what?
numbers.
Okay. In the 16th over, Sahibzada Farhan was 89 of 53. And what did he finish on? 100 of 60. 11
There you go.
runs for 7 balls. 11 runs of 7 balls. Now imagine, he got to his 100 in 6 balls. I mean, when you look at it, from 89 he was a 40 this thing balls. Okay, I have again got it right here. Okay, look at Saibzada Farhan when he was in the end of the 16th over, 89 of 53. He gets to his 100 of 59 deliveries, gets out in the 60th. So 11 runs for 7 balls, not at the power play, not in the middle, in the death. That is cardinal. That is criminal. You are playing for your milestone, honestly. You are playing for your milestone. When Fakhar Zaman, that's why he tried something innovative. 84 or 41, 200 strike rate. This is where I think Pakistan's mindset has to change. You can't have 11 runs of 7 balls in the death overs. I am sorry. That is what cost you. And you got to 100, but you didn't carry on after that. Okay. Had you gotten a better strike rate after you got your 100, good. But you didn't get that also. So that made a big difference. I agreed. I mean,
Yeah.
11 of 7 in the death overs, not done. Not done at all.
Yeah, I'd love to know what our viewers are saying because I'm sure this is has been such a crazy game that everyone must have had their senses blown up.
Yes, I mean, we are still trying to gasp at this current situation. What has gone on? So, Chirag Patel is saying, Sid, India owners can give an open statement that none of Pakistan players does not merit place in 100 tournament ECB. How can they prove discrimination? But how can India's owners do it in a foreign league? I just don't understand. I don't think you can. Then you're openly discriminating then at this point in time.
No, but Siddharth, that's it's a private entity. It's a team owned by private owners. They've not said it explicitly. They've not
Of
come out and
course.
said it as well. If they choose not to pick the players that they want, you can't really pin them down to it. It's happened in the IPL, so why are you surprised? We had an IPL in 2009 where all Pakistani players were there. No one bid for it.
Yep.
So it's happened in the past, but I must also point this out. You know, England, out of all the countries talking about it,
Yeah,
they did not allow Russian players to play Wimbledon when the
exactly.
war was on, right?
Yep.
No Russian players were allowed to play.
Belarusian, Russian, yeah. And you
So,
turned a blind eye to what was
so
racism going on in Yorkshire.
yeah, yeah.
Suddenly.
No, yeah.
Indeed. Sarthak Arya is saying, had Pakistan managed to clutch the situation from 105 for 101 for 5 and restricted them to 147, then would you have doubted the integrity of today's game?
Good question because I mentioned it.
Yes.
That's what I've been saying, Sarthak, in this entire life. Had that happened, there would have been fingers pointed to the integrity of the game. And I'm not saying that these results can't be achieved. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking anything away from Pakistan. It's in the manner in which Sri Lanka played that would have raised the eyebrows. Not that Pakistan can't win against Sri Lanka or that Pakistan can't win by a big margin versus Sri Lanka. I know the chances were very less, but on a rare day, it can happen. I may give it 5% chance, 10% chance, but the reason I give it 5, 10 because it can happen. But not in the manner in which they were playing because it was not just the basic poor bowling or batting, but some drop catches, a clear effort that you can see visually what that wasn't done, and then you had a scenario where reviews weren't being taken. So that would have raised doubts. That's why I'm saying I'm glad it's finished out the way it is
Yeah.
because I want to have faith in this sport that we all love. So I'm glad it's finished the way it is.
Exactly. So yeah, a lot of the conspiracy theories were already reaching fever pitch before the match. If this result had happened, Sarthak, don't be surprised. For the next few days until the semi-finals, it would have all been fixing. And Pakistan, remember, this tournament began with Pakistan trying to be relevant because of the charade that they pulled on for February 15th. Oh, we'll boycott the game against India. What happened? U-turns after U-turns after U-turns. This would have not escaped them. I am really telling you, this would have not escaped them had it happened this way. So, glad that you won, that the match ended with a 5-run win rather than a 65-run win. That would raise a lot more eyebrows. Then, Jasmeet is saying from the US, if West Indies win, what logic for WI versus England semi-final Mumbai and not Kolkata? I think primarily, Jasmeet, what has happened is, I think you had only one venue which was confirmed. The other venue, when you look at it on March 4th, was not confirmed. Now that confirmation has come that it will be in Kolkata. Mumbai was confirmed from day one. I think that is the reason why, if West Indies win, or if India win, India versus England, because India are there, it will be in Mumbai. South Africa and New Zealand will be in Kolkata. Isn't it, Nikhil? That is how it goes, right? India will play its semi-final in Mumbai.
Yeah, I think so. You're correct. Yeah.
Yeah. The host is India at this point in time. It is a really big thing at this point in time. So, I don't understand the logic behind it, but then I think it is a TBC that was there for 4th. Now it's gotten confirmed. It will be in Kolkata and Mumbai. And yes, 89 of 53 is 167, 11 of 6 is 183. He got out on the 7th ball. Mathematically, you are wrong, but I agree with you. That's what Malik is saying. Because I said 11 of 7, I don't count, I also count the ball he was dismissed in. So, 11 of 7, 89 of 18 of 53 is 167, and 11 of 7, 6 is 183. But still, 11 of 6 is still wrong in a death over situation, Malik. That's the thing. So, Sarat Chandra is saying, Nick sir, you summed up well that at the end of the day, cricket should be the winner and fate should never be lost, as it's a stress relief for all of us. Well done, Sri Lanka, in proving me right for having faith. Lot of people are heaving a sigh of relief today for this result. Lot of people are, in that sense. Dev Pratap Singh Chauhan, Nikhil bhai, from today, Farhan's downfall will start. Comparison that Virat had already destroyed Umar Akmal, Ahmed Shahzad, Babar Azam and Abdullah Shafiq. By the way, Asian cricket level is pathetic. Really?
Yeah. No, I'm saying there could be a scenario where there's not a single Asian team in the semis. It's all dependent on India. They have a crucial game coming up versus West Indies.
Yes.
So India is the lone team flying the Asian flag. The Afghanistan, which showed some sort of brilliance. Sri Lanka that dominated cricket. The Pakistan that dominated cricket. Bangladesh not even playing, flattered to deceive. So that's a factor.
Yep, it is a fact. It is a fact. So, last comment we'll take, Pawan. Is there anything down? Or is the same thing? I just go down a bit. Yeah. Okay. Sachin Tendulkar is saying, Saim Ayub playing as a bowler, Shadab playing as a batter, Aga playing as a captain, Fakar Zaman playing on bench, and finally Babar playing for opposition sums up Pakistan campaign. I think yes.
I agree. I think it's the comment of the day and the perfect note to wind it up as well.
Indeed, indeed. So yes, Group Y done. Tomorrow the final games of the Super 8 tomorrow. South Africa, Zimbabwe right here in Delhi. Followed by India versus West Indies at the Eden Gardens. You know where you can follow all the games. One-stop destination. It's Sports Today. From me and Nikhil, it's good night, Nandri, Vanakkam, Shubhratri, Shabba Khair. Eat your vegetables. Don't trouble your mother. Subscribe to Sports Today.